I'm Ken Thompson, and I want to give you a quick introduction to the Sales Performance Optimizer, the web version. So you go to this URL, tinyurl.com/salessim, and that then loads up the sales simulator over the web. The Sales Sim also runs on the desktop, and on the desktop you can do some other stuff, particularly around integration with Excel, which you can't do on the web, but otherwise the web version is fully functional. So let's get straight into it. Put in your access code. That might change, you'll be given one of those. Then Sales Forecast Optimizer is where you work out what your sales organization can sell. That's your forecast. Once you've done that, you go to the Sales Revenue Optimizer, where you can do all sorts of clever what-if analysis. Now, the sales forecast starts by estimating the number of conversations coming into the sales organization. The Lead Generation Optimizer works out how you can optimize these, how you create conversations in the first place, and you do that by list building and list harvesting, so that's a nice little optional add-on. And finally, the Sales Price Optimizer gives you some clever insight in picking your price sweet spot, which optimizes price and demand in terms of giving you the best revenue. So let's look at putting together a sales forecast. On our screen we've got a little map of the sales forecast, and you can see conversations becoming suspects, becoming prospects, becoming either base customers or upgrade customers. Now, one of the very interesting, powerful features about this is the recycling options. There's basically 3 recycling options that make a huge difference to sales forecasting. The first one is deferred prospects. If somebody's interested but not ready, the system will put them in the deferred prospects pot and then bring them out at the appropriate time, say 6 months later, and feed them through. So you've got deferred prospects. The second thing we've got is lost bid recycling. When you lose a bid, you can route the people back into another bucket, either future suspects or future prospects, or split them between both, and they might come round again in, say, a 12-month window. And finally, when the subscriptions end for customers, you can put them back as well. So you've got lost bid recycling and lost customer recycling as well. So you can see at the top, total cumulative revenue sold, total cumulative revenue earned. Revenue sold is take the full revenue at point of sale. Revenue earned is take a fraction of it every month over the duration of the contract. So let's just do a quick run through. Hit the run button, and you'll see down at the bottom the sim month number has actually gone to 37. Amazingly fast. That's 36 months data have been processed, and the data then is based on your sales process. And the way you put in your sales process is you go to the adjust process settings screen, and you can give it your start values, because you're inevitably starting with stuff already there. Timings and routings, for example, how long does a basic contract last? We've got 24 months here. We could change that if we wanted to. You can move the slider, or you can type values directly in. Then we can set target values. Then we go to the KPI settings, so basically what's the average revenue of the different types of sale, how long do sales take to happen. For example, it's saying here it's 0.25 months for a conversation to become a suspect or qualified out, and that's one of the features you have within simulation that you'll never get within a spreadsheet. The number of conversations coming in per month, and we've got 174. We can have conversations coming in different stages. And then basically we've got your conversion rates for your sales process. Conversion rates of conversation to suspects 33%, suspects to prospects 30%, prospects to customers 60%, then 60% of customers are upgrade customers, which means 40% are base. At the end of the renewal period, 90% renew of the base customers, 90% of the upgrade customers renew. Anybody then future qualify, anybody in this model who isn't an immediate prospect goes into the deferred prospect box, that's probably over ambitious. That would be more normally around about the 50% or the 30%. And then we're saying when these deferred buckets, they leak at a 10% leakage rate, so they leak away. You could have no leakage or a lot higher leakage. So these are the numbers that are feeding in here. And when we run the simulation, we then can go and look at the various graphs. You'll notice we've got 8.8 million sold over 3 years and 4.2 million earned. Look at the graphs then. You'll see the first graph is sold versus earned cumulative, and if you look, you can slide up the graph and you'll see right at the top you've got our 8.8 million or so sold cumulatively, and then we can slide up the earned graph as well, and you see that number's lower. You tab down here under the pages, you can look at all the different graphs, base customers versus upgrade customers, the sales pipeline in terms of how that's developing, and monthly earned revenue, and then back to we looked at the cumulative and the total as well. So that's the graphs built in. We can also look at it in tabular form. You can see month by month the different figures. So you put in your data, you make sure it's as correct as you can, and that basically comes up with what I call the baseline. So we've got 8.8 million on the baseline. We can run this from numbers you input or numbers you take out of Excel. So we're in calc mode at the minute. We're into file mode. So we now want to do some what if on this data. So let's go down to the revenue option, and you'll see quite a busy screen here. Basically numbers over this side, the same process map, and these things called sliders on the right hand side. So basically there's our baseline 8.8 million. So let's show you. We might say, for example, let's say we could increase the number of conversations in a month by 50%. So they're putting them up by 50%. We hit the run button. There it's running through 36 months, 1 week at a time, an amazing amount of data processed, and you'd see the sales have gone up to 13.2 million, 50% sales growth. So that's not particularly surprising. Now, it's not always possible to make those kind of improvements immediately, so you can put in a transit time or a change time frame. For example, let's assume that that improvement can't happen instantly, but it happens over a 12-month period. We would then expect it not to have as big a number improvement on the revenue, but possibly more feasible. Now we've run it through, and you see now that it's only revenue now at 11.95 million, 35% improvement. So basically you have very powerful what if facilities. One thing just to show you is you can move all the gauges at once, and often people say, for example, I've within 90% tolerance on all my key sales process indicators. Does that mean I'm doing well? So then let's look at that. So we can change all sliders by 10%. We do -10 in there. And let's see, if we were within 90% of all our sales indicators, what would that do to the revenue? There it runs through, and this is actually one of the most surprising things people don't often realize. You see, if you those sort of small leakages make a huge difference. So there, the cumulative sales have gone down from a baseline of 8.8 million to 4.8 million, and that's more or less half your sales by missing all those little numbers. So this is the online version of the simulator. If you need to get help at all, you can click on the various help buttons, and that sort of explains how it all works. Going back to the main menu then, we've shown you the sales forecast optimizer, we've shown you the what if facilities. On the desktop version there's extreme integration with Excel, and that enables all sorts of stuff, including automatic optimization of the process. So I hope you find this a useful introduction to the Sales Optimizer.